Be prepared. You may be surprised by what I'm about to tell you, but you must remain absolutely silent in the next 3 days, because if you don't, the consequences are irreversible. Everything you've been told about speaking your truth, about saying what's on your mind, about expressing every thought you have, becomes dangerous in these last 3 days of August. The normal rules do not apply here. What usually empowers you now drains you. What usually protects you now exposes you. And here's the part that almost nobody is ready to hear. These final days demand silence from the chosen ones, not expression, because something is unfolding right now, something hidden that can only be survived by those who stay quiet. If you can resist the urge to explain, argue, or confess, you'll see what the others will miss. But if you can't, the cost will follow you long after August ends. Because if you knew what truly is unfolding in the last 3 days of August, you'd understand why silence is no longer optional. The last 3 days of August are unlike any other time of year. Itself shifts. It's not just the season changing. It's not just people getting ready for new routines or school starting again. This is deeper. Even those who don't believe in anything spiritual will feel the tension of these days. Everywhere you go, people are restless, short-tempered, ready to snap. A single careless word could spark a chain of events that drags on for weeks, even months. If one spark is all it takes. Astrologically, these final days are always heavy with miscommunication, with emotional surges, with energy that twists words into weapons. That's why silence becomes more than just protection. It becomes power. Music in these final 3 days of August, the world won't play fair. It will push, provoke, and poke at you, waiting for you to snap back. Conversations that should be simple will suddenly feel like traps. Strangers will cut you off in traffic. Family will press your buttons, and even the news will seem designed to stir up an emotional reaction. This is not random. There's a deeper mechanism at work, and it knows exactly how to tempt you into breaking your silence. Every word you speak during this period carries more weight than you realize. Once it's out, you can't take it back. And that is exactly the bait waiting for chosen ones. You may feel the urge to defend yourself, to explain, to finally get it off your chest, but right now those words would only shatter what's being built in the silence. The moment you react, you give your power away. That's why this is the ultimate test. Imagine standing in the middle of chaos. Everyone demanding a response from you. The true chosen one is the one who doesn't take the bait. The one who can remain still while everything around them tries to drag them into noise. Because only the silent will pass through this invisible portal. And once you're on the other side, everything changes. Here's the part that may sting. Most people around you will have no idea what's happening in these final days of August. They'll wake up, scroll their phones, drink their coffee, complain about traffic, and move through life as if nothing is different. They won't notice the tension in the air. They won't feel the spiritual pull that you feel so strongly, and when you try to explain it, they'll brush it off, laugh it away, or worse, convince you that you're imagining it. That is why your silence matters, because silence protects the sacred. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove your awareness, and you don't need their permission to trust what you feel. Awareness separates the awake from the asleep. And you, chosen one, are awake enough to sense that these last 3 days of August are not ordinary. Think of it this way. Imagine being the only one who can see a storm forming in the distance. While everyone else is outside enjoying the sunlight, you're quietly preparing, shutting the windows, securing the doors. They may call you paranoid. They may laugh at your caution. But when the storm finally breaks, you'll be the one who's safe. That is exactly what silence is in these days. A form of preparation they will not understand. And here's the truth. It is not your job to make them understand. Some will even take your words and twist them against you, using them to fuel arguments, gossip, or confusion. That's why silence becomes your shield. Because when you stay silent, no one can misuse your energy. So let them misunderstand you. Let them wonder why you're quiet, why you seem withdrawn, why you're not engaging in the usual noise. Your awareness is enough. Your perception is proof. You don't need anyone else to confirm. And the moment you realize that their lack of understanding becomes irrelevant, those who do not feel the shift were never meant to walk your path. These last days of August aren't just about avoiding conflict. They're about learning who you can really trust. And here's the hard truth. You can't trust the noise around you. The world is shifting faster than most people can process. Old systems, old patterns, old sources of authority, they are crumbling in real time. Yet they will cling desperately to your attention, feeding you half-truths, distractions, and fear just to keep you hooked. If you lean on the outside world for answers right now, you'll find nothing but confusion. Politicians, media, coworkers, even family. They'll all project their own fear, their own uncertainty, their own chaos onto you. Noise is not guidance, silence is. That's why trusting yourself above all else becomes the most important act of these 3 days. Inside of you, there's a compass that doesn't lie. It may whisper quietly, but it always points in the right direction, and silence amplifies that whisper. The less you say, the more you hear. The less you react, the clearer your own truth becomes. When the world is shouting 1,000 different instructions, your silence becomes the signal that cuts through all the static. This doesn't mean isolating yourself out of fear. It means learning that your inner voice is the one authority that never crumbles. Systems will rise and fall. People will come and go, but that inner truth remains steady. These final days of August are not about external validation. They're about recognizing that you already hold the answers that the noise outside keeps trying to cover up. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable at first. Doubt creeps in, wondering if you're doing the right thing by staying silent, by stepping back. But every time you choose to trust yourself instead of reacting to the chaos, you strengthen something within you that can't be broken. And that strength will carry you not just through these days, but into what comes next. Silence is the bridge between the world that is ending and the truth that is beginning. Here's what most people get wrong about transformation. They think it always comes from big dramatic moves. Quitting the job, ending the relationship, moving across the world. But in these last 3 days of August, the universe doesn't measure you by your grand gestures. It measures you by the smallest intentional step you take. Because in this rare pocket of energy, even the tiniest action ripples louder than you can imagine. Think of it like this. A single drop of water doesn't seem like much, but when the lake is perfectly still, that drop creates waves that reach every shore. These days are that still lake. The energy is hypersensitive, amplified, stretched thin. That's why a small step taken with clarity, a boundary set, a moment of rest chosen, a truth spoken quietly becomes a declaration that echoes far beyond these 3 days. And the beauty is it doesn't need to be complicated. Maybe your small step is finally saying no to something that drains you. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to rest when everyone else is caught in chaos. Maybe it's choosing to stay silent when someone tries to provoke you, even if every nerve in your body wants to fight back. Whatever it is, it becomes proof that you're aligned, proof that you're listening, proof that you're ready. Tiny actions become enormous signals in times of transition. What matters isn't the size of the step, it's the energy behind it. One act of alignment tells the universe that you're not just aware of the shift, but willing to move with it. It tells the unseen forces shaping these final days that you've chosen to walk with intention instead of drifting with the noise. And in that moment, something inside you shifts permanently. Because here's the secret. Once you take that one step, the doorway opens wider. The next choice becomes easier. The path ahead becomes clearer. The silence you've been holding begins to speak back to you in ways you didn't expect. And what started as a single, almost invisible action becomes the key that unlocks the next chapter of your life. So don't underestimate the power of a small move right now. Don't think it's too little to matter. In the stillness of these days, one choice is enough to change everything. One small step made in silence can echo louder than a lifetime of noise. Here's what most won't notice. Your silence doesn't just protect you, it unsettles others. When you stop talking, people in positions of control, bosses, teachers, even family leaders suddenly feel uneasy. Authority thrives on your reactions. It feeds on your explanations, your apologies, your answers. But in these last days of August, when you withhold your words, you break the script they rely on. Silence is not weakness, it's resistance. Think about it. When you don't give them what they expect, when you stop playing the part, it disrupts the entire dynamic. A boss might pressure you for an instant response. A parent might get agitated when you don't engage in an argument. Even a partner may question why you're holding back. That tension you notice, that's the power of silence rewriting the balance. This is why silence in these days is more than just a strategy for self-preservation. It's a micro rebellion against the systems and people who unconsciously expect to control your energy. It flips the power back into your hands without you having to say a single word. And the longer you hold your silence, the more the world begins to reveal its true face. The last days of August are not calm waters. They are a storm. Not the kind you see in the sky, but the kind you feel pressing down on your chest, circling in your thoughts, rattling the edges of your emotions. And when the storm hits, most people will do what they always do. They'll talk. They'll vent. They'll argue. They'll complain. They'll spill their discomfort into words, hoping that speaking it out loud will dissolve it. But this time, that is the trap. Not every storm is meant to be spoken through. Some storms are meant to be endured in silence. These final days are like a test, a spiritual initiation. You're being asked one question: can you hold your silence while chaos swirls around you? Because the storm is not random. It's designed to pull reactions out of you to see if you'll break the silence and scatter your power into noise. Every word you speak carelessly now leaks energy, while every moment of silence fortifies it. Picture this: messages that stir drama out of nowhere, arguments that rise from the smallest misunderstandings, situations that prod your patience until you feel like snapping. That's the storm trying to bait you. It knows the silence you hold is powerful, so it will do everything to shake it loose from you. And that's why most people don't make it through this passage. They give in too soon. They talk. They explain. They explain. They defend themselves, and the doorway closes for them. But for the chosen ones, silence is the shield. When you choose not to react, not to waste your words, not to give the storm what it wants, something remarkable happens. The energy that would have been lost through speaking is redirected inward. Antisao. It becomes fuel. It strengthens you. You don't just survive the storm, you grow because of it. Silence in chaos is not weakness, it is the ultimate act of strength. Every hour you hold your ground without giving in to the urge to speak, your spirit grows tougher, your resilience multiplies. You begin to sense that the storm is not actually against you, it's for you. It's chiseling away the parts of you that once depended on explaining, justifying, or defending. And once the storm passes, what remains is unshakable. So ask yourself this: can you stand in the eye of the storm, surrounded by noise and pressure, and remain still? Can you trust that silence itself is carrying you through? Because if you can, these 3 days will not break you. They will crown you. Those who endure the storm in silence inherit a strength that words can never give. One of the heaviest chains you've carried through life is the need to prove yourself, to explain why you chose what you chose, to justify why you walked away from something that no longer served you. It's a discipline to argue your truth until someone else finally nods in agreement. But here, in these final days of August, that entire pattern begins to break. Silence is the end of the trial you never needed to attend. Think about how much energy gets wasted in arguments that lead nowhere. You explain yourself, but the other person isn't really listening. They're just waiting to respond. You open up your heart, but instead of receiving it, people twist your words, misunderstand, or dismiss you. And every time you feel that sting, you double down, trying to explain yourself one more time, hoping that this time they'll finally get it. But they don't. But they don't because they were never meant to. These days carry an opportunity, almost like a reset button for the spirit. When you stop trying to be understood, when you allow others to form whatever picture of you they want without fighting against it, you suddenly feel lighter. That desperate need to set the record straight dissolves, and what's left behind is peace. It costs you nothing and frees you from everything. This is why silence in these last 3 days isn't weakness, it's dignity. Every time you refuse to explain yourself, you're reminding your soul that its truth is not up for debate. You're choosing self-respect over validation. And in doing so, you stop leaking energy into bottomless pits of misunderstanding. Picture it. Someone pokes at you with a snide comment, expecting you to defend yourself. Or a family member asks a question laced with judgment, daring you to argue back. Or a sea orker throws blame your way, hoping to drag you into a spiral of justification. In the old days, you might have jumped in. You might have fought tooth and nail to prove your innocence or to be seen clearly. But now, in this sacred window of time, you stay silent. You let them think what they want, and in that silence, you reclaim something they can't touch: your inner authority. Silence says, I don't need your approval because I already carry my own. This isn't about ignoring people forever or shutting yourself off completely. It's about recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every word deserves your response. Some perceptions are so rooted in their own bias that no amount of explaining could ever shift them. And the moment you stop trying, the moment you let go of needing them to see you clearly, you free yourself from their grip. These last 3 days are the perfect moment to practice this detachment, to let others believe their version of you while you walk in the truth of who you are. And when August ends, you'll carry that with you. The ability to let go of proving yourself and the strength to know that your silence was never emptiness. It was sovereignty. Silence isn't surrender. It's the sound of your soul standing tall. One of the hardest truths to swallow is that not everything shows up the moment you want it to. You can set an intention, speak your desires into existence, or take a leap of faith, but sometimes nothing happens right away. And that silence, that waiting feels like a void. But here's the secret. That void is not empty. It's alive. It's working. Delay is not denial. It is divine choreography. How? In these final days of August, the energy of delay is magnified. Seeds are being planted in ways you cannot yet see. Choices you make now, even the smallest ones, are setting off ripple effects that will only reveal themselves in weeks or even months. The challenge, though, is that your human mind craves confirmation now. It wants proof. It wants reassurance that you're on the right path, that you're not wasting your time, that your silence and restraint actually means something. But that craving for immediate results is exactly what blocks alignment. Think about a farmer who plants a seed. It's the same for you in these last 3 days. Your silence is the soil. Your restraint is the fertile ground. Your trust is the water, and though nothing may appear to be happening on the surface, below the ground everything is moving. The moment you stop rushing, the future rushes to meet you. This is why patience isn't just a virtue. It's a spiritual weapon. Patience becomes your shield. It keeps you in alignment with divine timing instead of collapsing under the pressure of man-made timelines. And yes, this can feel uncomfortable. These days might tempt you to demand signs, to force conversations, to push outcomes. But what if the universe is deliberately withholding the answer because your spirit is still being prepared for it? What if the delay is protection? Ensuring that what you're calling in doesn't arrive too soon before you're strong enough to hold it. Beneath the surface, threads are being tied together, doors are aligning, people are being positioned, and opportunities are weaving themselves toward you. But they cannot appear if you're banging on the door too loudly. If you're drowning out the subtle flow with your own noise, that's why silence matters so much here. It teaches you to wait without anxiety, to trust without proof, to hold your energy steady until the harvest is ready. When you resist rushing, you allow alignment. When you stop chasing, what is meant for you can finally arrive. And when you embrace patience, you discover that delay was never punishment. It was preparation. So in these last days of August, remember this. Your silence is not wasted. Your patience is not in vain. The delay is not a void, but a womb. And soon what is hidden will emerge. Perfectly timed, unstoppable, undeniable. Patience is the language of the universe. It speaks in timing, not in urgency. Silence has a way of making you feel like you're the only one walking through it. When the world is loud, when everyone is filling the air with words, opinions, and endless noise, choosing to be quiet can feel like exile. You may think, am I the only one feeling this? Am I the only one doing this? But the truth is far bigger than you realize. You may walk this path in silence, but you never walk it alone. Across the world, in places you'll never see, in lives you'll never touch directly, others are making the same choice. Right now, people you've never met are stepping into the same silence. They're putting down their need to explain. They're resisting the urge to react. They're holding their ground in stillness. Some are in crowded cities surrounded by chaos. Some are in quiet towns feeling the same inner tug you feel. And without even knowing each other, you're connected. Every single one of you is creating an invisible network of light woven together by this shared act of restraint. This is how the collective shifts, not in big public displays, not in loud declarations, but in small private decisions made by individuals who dare to listen inward instead of outward. Awakening doesn't echo through microphones. It ripples through souls in silence. That restless energy you've been feeling, others are feeling it too. The difference is that most people don't recognize it for what it is. They'll distract themselves with arguments, with entertainment, with busy schedules. But you are aware, and that awareness connects you to every other person who also notices the shift. You may not see their faces, but energetically you're standing side by side. Imagine it. 1,000 candles being lit across the globe. Not in one place, not at one time, but slowly, steadily, one by one. Each candle alone doesn't seem like much, but together they begin to push back the darkness. That's what's happening right now. Every person who embraces the silence of these final days of August is lighting a candle. And your candle, no matter how small it may feel, is part of a fire that cannot be extinguished. Your silence is a signal. It tells the universe, I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm listening. I'm ready. Hey, you are not alone in this awakening because awakening never happens in isolation. It moves like a current. It spreads like fire. And whether you realize it or not, someone else's courage to remain silent is strengthening your own, just as your silence strengthens theirs. This is the unspoken alliance of the chosen. So when you feel the weight of these days pressing down, remember that others are carrying it too. They may be strangers. They may be across oceans. They may never speak your name. But you are moving in sync like a hidden chorus. And together, without uttering a word, you're shifting something enormous in the collective field. You don't need to shout to change the world. Sometimes the loudest revolution is silence shared. This is the hidden beauty of these last days of August. While the silence feels personal, it's actually communal. Every person who chooses stillness is part of a larger awakening that is reshaping the future. And you right now are woven into that tapestry. Your silence is more powerful than you know because it's not just yours, it belongs to all of us. Most people will never understand the power of choosing silence. They'll think it's easy or pointless or even strange. But the truth is this: silence is one of the hardest disciplines a human being can master. It's not the absence of noise. It's the refusal to give away your energy to distractions, arguments, and pointless exchanges. It's the ability to hold your ground when the world begs you to break. Anyone can speak. Few can stay silent. Silence is the mark of mastery. If you've carried yourself through these final days of August in silence, you've done something that only a small fraction of people are capable of. You've proven that you can resist the pull of the ordinary. You've shown that you can say no to the chaos of the collective. And that decision, though invisible to everyone else, is shaping your September in ways you cannot yet imagine. This is not about punishment. It's about reset. The silence you've chosen has cleared the clutter that usually fills your mind. It has sharpened your intuition and it has strengthened your willpower. Think about it. If you can control your tongue when provoked, if you can stay quiet, when everything around you is screaming for a reaction, what else can you master? Self-control is the highest form of freedom. As you step into September, you are stepping in lighter. You're not carrying the unnecessary weight of arguments, the regrets of words you didn't mean, or the exhaustion of trying to explain yourself to people who were never ready to hear you. Instead, you're carrying clarity. You're carrying strength. You're carrying discipline that will ripple through every other area of your life. And this discipline doesn't vanish when the silence ends. It lingers. It weaves itself into your decisions, your relationships, your ambitions. September will feel different because you are different. Because you're different. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.